Hello everybody, I am Tim, aka Ryu, and this is Kate.
Hi.
And we'd like to introduce you to the brutality of the console tours. No, I'm just kidding, but this is Console Tours, where we're going through video games and comparing them to real-life locations.
So, one thing you guys may not know about me is that I actually had the opportunity to live in Japan for 2 years, and while I was there, I lived in and visited a number of locations that have inspired some of our favorite video games, TV shows, and more. And we've decided to start with where I lived, essentially.
Well, not exactly, but the same province, Sinnoh. You were a Pokemon master.
Apparently I was.
Yeah.
I actually knew next to nothing about Pokemon when I left for Japan, and I ended up getting into it while I was over there because Sun and Moon came out, and my students were like very, very into those games at the time, and they started greeting me with Alola and thinking like that words from Sun and Moon were real English words, so I actually didn't know that I was living in a Pokemon region until several months into my time there, but actually I lived in Japan's northernmost prefecture, the island of Hokkaido, which was the inspiration for Pokemon's Sinnoh region, which Tim will now talk a bit more about because I don't actually know anything about this generation.
Yeah, okay, so it wasn't just Sinnoh, it was also for Almia, and I insist on Fior, but for now we're just going to talk about Sinnoh.
Yeah. Officially, it's not Almia, but... Fior.
Officially, it's not Fior. Well, some people think that Fior represents the south of Japan, but Sinnoh is the closest region in universe.
But anyway,
yeah.
Sinnoh and the whale tail-shaped region from one of the spin-off games, Almia, are definitely based on Hokkaido. It's a part of Japan that not a lot of people visit, even people who live in Japan. Culturally and environmentally, it's very different from the rest of Japan. It's not... I mean, there are your Japanese restaurants, your hot springs, your train system, but it's... When you think of Japan, the image that comes to your mind is never going to be Hokkaido. It's different.
Hokkaido is a bit like... I mean, this isn't inaccurate, but for geography, it's sort of like the Alaska of Japan, to give you an idea. And it's about on the same plane, I believe, or the same latitude.
Correct. It's very cold, which Sinnoh paid homage to with some of its northernmost cities.
Yes.
Hokkaido is also known for being the home of the indigenous Ainu people. Later, I hope to do a Console Tours episode about Okami and talking about that. That's one of the few games in the modern day that ever actually referenced the Ainu people or acknowledged that they existed. But there is a connection between Ainu culture and the region of Sinnoh because some of the most sacred locations in the Ainu religion and the Ainu faith, in their culture, were lakes. Hokkaido's many volcanic caldera lakes, which became the divine lakes of Verity, Valor, and Acuity, which is where the 3 of the mythical Pokemon from this generation can be found. So Those are based on real-life religious sacred sites to the Ainu people.
Mesprit, Alexi, and Steve. I think that's the right ones.
I don't know.
I can't remember them all 3 at the same time. It's just something. But actually, I think they're currently running around in the save file.
So what we're going to be doing for these episodes of Console Tours is Tim is going to be not actually playing through the game, but kind of hopping from location to location, and I'll be telling you a bit about where I think it may be connected to in Hokkaido. Now, I want to know that there are lists out there on the internet of what location in Hokkaido goes with what location in Sinnoh, and for the most part, I agree with these, but I don't 100%. The biggest thing would be there are a lot of towns that have been given a one-to-one correlation with actual towns in Hokkaido that I feel are more representative of a region or a sub-prefecture in Hokkaido, so I'll be talking about that as well. So Tim, tell me where we're going to be starting off talking about.
Well, I figure first we're going to start off and talk about just how utterly outclassed this Sarli is.
Yeah.
No. I was going to see if... because we are, in fact, right near one of the lakes, but I think it's quicker... we're just going to head back into town.
Well, if you tell me what town it is, I can talk about it.
We're going back into Jubilife, which I believe you said was the equivalent of
Sapporo.
At least part of Sapporo?
The majority of Sapporo.
Yeah, because I think some of it got also rolled into Almia.
Yes, so Sapporo is the largest city and the capital city of Hokkaido Prefecture. The name Sapporo comes from Ainu words meaning big open plain, which is what the city used to be before it was developed and developed and developed again. It is now a large, sprawling metropolis, and Jubilife fits with Sapporo not just in its size, not just in its location, kind of at the very, very north part of that whale tail, like right before you see Hokkaido kind of curve off in the whale tail, but in some of its landmarks. So the global terminal, which...
I have a gym bet.
Currently, Tim is being denied.
It doesn't matter too much. I've just somehow... I've managed to get a weird glitch going on. I had 8 gym badges, and now maybe I don't. This is a very old save. It might have corrupted. But just so long as I've got all the locations and can go everywhere, I think I'm fine. And if not, I've definitely got other ones. Yeah, I can go everywhere. I can even go into the... Here. Okay. We're gonna jump right back into Jubilee. Okay, now we're back after that weirdness. We probably can't go into here.
No, but... So the global terminal, I believe that's what it's called?
Yeah, that's the global terminal.
The global terminal is based on the central Sapporo train station, or just Sapporo station, and it has Sapporo Station's very distinctive design. It was actually one of the first locations when I was kind of planning and researching for this video, and I was going through images of Sinnoh. This was one of the first things that jumped out at me, and I said, hey, I know this place. Sapporo Station is an absolutely enormous building. It takes up multiple city blocks.
Yeah, you can see it even on this screen, that giant spire.
It has 2 buildings to the sides of it, similar to those 2 round towers that you're seeing there. So from the outside, you're seeing pretty much a fairly accurate replica of the Sapporo train station. Now, I have a feeling that the 2 buildings on the inside would be extremely different, mostly because this building serves a function here in your Pokemon game, whereas Sapporo Train Station, despite being called Sapporo Train Station, does way more than that. It contains a full mall, a multiple floors worth of dining. Obviously, there are connected hotels, places you can stay. There are the train stations and the subway stations themselves, which it all built around. There is, ironically, a Pokemon Center. There are restaurants ranging from kind of street food, indoor street food stalls to fancy high-end fine dining. There are establishments that sell alcohol. There are clothing stores, food stores. There, I believe, is a movie theater. No, there is. There is a movie theater hidden somewhere within the labyrinth. And the reason I sound so uncertain is even in the 2 years that I lived in Hokkaido, I never got the full measure of Sapporo train station. I was getting lost there constantly, even in my last trips there. It's an utterly overwhelming building. It also connects to an underground shopping center called Pole Town, not Mole Town, Game of Thrones fans, Pole Town, that is where the citizens of Sapporo do most of their shopping during the winter, because Hokkaido is snowbound for about half the year. And so it's this amazing, elaborate, overdone structure, and I hope, for the sake of all of you Pokemon players, that that's not what that building is actually like, because I have gotten lost in the Sapporo train station more times than I can probably count.
It's not that bad. I mean, unfortunately, I can't take us in, but I'll put up a map of the inside. It is multiple levels, but it's basically just there so you can do online functionality, though most of that is now, for this specific game, no longer functional.
And the other location in Jubilife that draws from a real-life place in Sapporo is the fact that it is home to a TV station.
Yes.
Sapporo is home to Hokkaido's central broadcasting stations and is home to a landmark known as Sapporo TV Tower.
Yep.
Which is an old-fashioned red and white tower that stands at the top of Odori Park, a 13 or 14 block green space in the center of the city. It is Sapporo's most famous landmark, and the thing that you will kind of see on a lot of postcards, advertisements for Sapporo. It's kind of it's considered to be the heart of the city. You go there any time of year, there's stuff going on, there's festivals happening in the green space, there's street food vendors.
So this would be that green space.
Except in real life, it stretches about 13 or 14 city blocks.
Yeah.
And it's also home to Hokkaido's most famous event, the Snow Sculpture Festival, or the Ice Festival, which takes place every February, and sculptors from all over the world come and build these amazing giant snow sculptures, multiple feet tall, of famous people, of locations around the world, of cartoon characters, video game characters, cups of ramen noodles, really whatever you could possibly imagine. And
elaborate scenes.
Well, yeah, I'll put some up on the screen, but the two ice festivals that I attended, the centerpiece sculptures, as it were, my first year was based on Attack on Titan, the anime, and it showed two of the monsters, Titans, fighting with Sapporo's government buildings in the background, and at night it lit up and played the show's theme song to like a flashing light show. The second year that I went to the festival, they decided to go even more elaborate, and they did a scene inspired by Final Fantasy VII. Tim is still jealous.
I am.
Cloud and Sephiroth fighting.
With Sephiroth's scene playing in the background, was it not?
Yes, at night they would play the Sephiroth cutscene, I believe from Advent Children, in the background, while of course, you know, the music from the game would be playing, and then throughout the day they had various school bands and from elementary, middle, and high schools across Hokkaido come and perform on this little snow stage at the base of the sculpture, which obviously led to more less than expert renditions of One Winged Angel than I ever again want to hear in a single day.
Any of them just recorders?
Thank God, no.
Let's see. I don't think there's anything else that's an actual landmark in Jubilife. I mean, There
were Pokemon-related statues at both of the ice festivals that I went to. So there was always one block of the Odori Park that would be rented out for students. Schools could rent or buy patches of snow for their students to build. And it was kind of like the kids or the just for fun section, and there were always a lot of Pikachus. I would see probably 3, 4, 5 Pikachus. One year I saw a Jigglypuff as well. I saw a Pikachu alongside an Ash Ketchum from the Pokemon anime. I did not actually see any Sinnoh Pokemon-themed sculptures, but again, I only was able to attend the festival twice, and I'm sure they have done a Sinnoh-themed year. They try to keep it relevant. Like, the Attack on Titan theme was because the Attack on Titan concept art exhibit was touring in Sapporo at the time, and the Final Fantasy theme because it was some number anniversary of the franchise.
I believe the 25th of the entire Final Fantasy.
Sounds about right. And I got all this cool exclusive merch.
No, wait, no.
Yeah.
30th. 25th,
Like
yeah.
Anyway, so that's Jubilife City, which is Sapporo. Sapporo is an amazing place to visit if you're ever in Japan. It's kind of out of your way and not a place that you would think of visiting, but I really recommend it. There is, as you see, the Odori Park. There is the amazing train station. Things that are in Sapporo that were not recorded here in Jubilife City are the Winter Olympics Museum, Sapporo Zoo, lots of beautiful shrines, gorgeous, gorgeous onsens, the Shiroi Koibito Chocolate Factory, which has tours every day, and my personal favorite, Ramen Alley, which is a street with somewhere between 12 and 14 ramen shops and nothing else on it. And yes, I have done entire days where every single meal I ate was at Ramen Alley.
Nice.
It's kind of a rite of passage of living in Hokkaido, if you've done the Ramen Alley gamut. So yeah, that's Jubilife City, aka Sapporo. Definitely the place I would most recommend people to visit if they're in Japan.
Alright, where do you want to go next?
Let's go over to Canalave. One thing I just want to say is we'll be making more videos about this, but hey, if you have any questions about living in Hokkaido, about the connections between Sinnoh and Hokkaido, about how the heck did you end up in Hokkaido in the first place, like, hey, reach out to me. I'm on Twitter at derletztentanz. I'm on GameLuster under my name, Kate Mitchell, so just, heck, reach out to me, because I love talking about Hokkaido and everything to do with it. Obviously, it's a place that I'm passionate about, that I've shared so much of my life with, so yeah, talk to me about Hokkaido.
And if you have any suggestions for future episodes after we finish up looking at Sinnoh and the other Hokkaido-related areas, let us know, and we can see if we can get some console tours going.